and roll couple of the punk era. Famously antisocial and both with serious drug addictions.
It seems like a really naff thing to do, doesn't it? Those two getting engaged is really stupid. So it's probably the sort of thing they would have done.
As a piece of punk memorabilia, their engagement ring is unique.
I'd like to think it was just an impulse buy. I think that he may have just been wandering about Camden and thought, I'll buy me bird a ring.
Engaged or not, theirs is an unconventional love story.
Hey, do you want to make a pornograph ring?
Their love affair was something to behold in the sense that I think they really were in love.
I found out about the John and Yoko of punk rock.
Unless they'd actually been physically attacked by Sid or Nancy, I think that a lot of people had a lot of fondness for them. I mean, they weren't very sharp, you know.
Britain, 1977, and the punk revolution is in full swing. The Sex Pistols and their followers are Public Enemy's #1.
It was nihilistic, it was negative, it was anti-everything.
You know, it was quite dangerous being a punk rocker at that time. I mean, you know, you read the photograph by Japanese tourists of getting beaten up, basically.
It was like a war.
Because you had blue or green hair and because you wore a studded belt and a T-shirt that was liable to offend somebody, everybody went, oh, I know what he's into.
They can't beat us, and they're not going to beat us.
In February that year, the Pistols' biggest fan became their bass player. He was 19-year-old John Simon Ritchie, better known as Sid Vicious.
If John Rotten was the sort of mind and imagination of punk, then Sid Vicious was definitely the sales force.
He wasn't a very good bass guitar player, and if you kind of sling it on a 6-foot-long thing, and you can't play it properly. You look much cooler, but you can't play the instrument as well.
Sid was enrolled as the bass player because Malcolm realised, I think, that Sid was such an iconic-looking character.
Ready to rock?
This guy I thought was absolutely gorgeous, and I found him to be he was very shy and very sweet.
He had a very rock and roll look. Leather jacket, Levi's and motorbike boots. Nancy just looked like a kind of mad bag lady.
18-year-old Nancy Spungen had come over from New York, determined to be part of the British punk scene.
She came here looking for John, who wouldn't have anything to do with it, and was passed via Steve to Sid.
She was a bit of a groupie, well, more than a bit.
She really brought nothing to the party. If you didn't want to shag her, there was absolutely no point of being around. And most people didn't want to shag her because she was too gross.
They were kind of inseparable, I suppose, but I'd never known Sid to be with a woman before. That was what was strange. He'd never, in all the time I'd ever seen him, he'd always been single.
In the beginning, sex was the interest, but that quickly, I believe, got replaced with the more powerful sort of urges for heroin. I think they fell in love over a needless smack, you know.
Their commitment to each other was made public during a court appearance when Sid declared he and Nancy were engaged. Sid even bought a ring for the future Mrs. Vicious.
It's a silver ring based on a Greek key pattern design. Well, this would have been made from a model and then cast, so it's not a unique ring. It would have been one of several.
Not your typical engagement ring then, Rog?
Mind you, having said that, I've had all sorts of rings as wedding rings and engagement rings myself that I've sold that other people would be absolutely aghast about.
On their 78 tour of America, the Sex Pistols split. Sid flew back to England to be with Nancy, and for the rest of that year, they lived in a heroin bubble.
He was, to an extent, a prisoner at that point, partly because of the fame and partly because of the serious addiction that they were getting into there. I did find them one day in a hotel room, followed the trail of vomit to the toilet, and they were both slumped, leaning on the toilet bowl, and Nancy said, "That's what love is."
Like Sid would have died up to 15 deaths if I hadn't been around.
They went off to America. I think I saw them in New York a couple of times at like CBGB's or wherever, but I didn't feel any kind of bond with them by then. They were too much into their own world.
I can't help
the
it.
8th time you
I'm just so tired
spilled a
and
cigarette
worn out.
on me, spilled coffee on me, spilled orange juice on me.
I'm sorry.
On October the 12th, police were called to room 100 of the Chelsea Hotel to find Nancy had been stabbed to death. Sid was arrested and charged with murder.
Where would you like to be?
Under the ground.
3 months later, while out on bail, Sid took a heroin overdose and died. His mother, Anne Beverley, was with him.
Sid's mum said something really poignant once to me, which was that apart, they were great. Together, they were a one-way ticket to nowhere.
But dead, they were worth much, much more.
The value of a lot of celebrities, unfortunately or fortunately, goes up on their death. The Sex Pistols were always really popular. Obviously, anything with Sid Vicious signed or association is even more so.
Anne had inherited Sid's estate, and after collaborating with Alan on her son's biography, she gave him a small memento.
It was like a tiny little sort of tinny ring, quite rusty at the back, in fact split at the back, fractured. And I said, yeah, it's good, that's brilliant. What is it? She said, that's the engagement ring that Sid gave to Nancy. But I didn't really want to sell it. I wasn't particularly impressed by that idea. I thought it was a bit tacky to sell it, really.
But after owning the ring for 10 years, Alan found himself strapped for cash and put it up for auction.
I got a call the day after the auction closed from what I described as a very excited person begging me to know if the ring had sold or not.
She said, oh no, that didn't go. I said, well, what do I do now? She said, well, you put in a bid and if we accept it, then it's yours.
I think there was a feeling that people didn't know what it would go for, didn't have an idea really the price.
So what's the reserve on it? Thinking, yeah, that's going to be about £15,000 reserve on it. She said, oh, it's £1,500. I went, whack your gavel, love, it's sold.
Apparently she bought it, and within 36 hours of buying it, by all accounts, was at a music industry dinner with Malcolm McLaren on the next table, and sort of said, oh, you know, hi, Malk, how you doing?
Look, Sid's ring. Sid's ring. That's Sid's ring.
And apparently he went, that's Nancy Spungen ring. And I mean, great, you know, I'd sooner it went to someone like that than it went to someone who's going to stick it in a glass case and go, oh, come to the East Wing and I'll show you Miss Spungen's ring. You know, it's next to Mr. Hendrix's guitar and between Page and Plant's last set of lyrics.
I think Sid and Nancy epitomise what went wrong with the era, because punk was supposed to be a revolutionary movement, and the sad thing about Sid and Nancy is that they sort of epitomised the betrayal of that, you know. They became decadent rock stars.
No, I think that's bullshit. I think punk's about whatever you want it to be. Sid and Nancy's story is the punk story because it ends so tragically. It's a tragic movement. It's full of victims.